A lot of things happen behind the scenes. 8.8 rear end with disc brakes already on it. No more. I believe I'm done for the day. Just stripping off the disc brakes, getting everything cleaned up. I try to hit this with some sandpaper and some wire brush, but I think I'm gonna go for a wire wheel for the grinder. Make things quick and easy. So glad I went and bought this wire wheel for the grinder. Made taking the paint off way quicker. Of course, I'm still gonna have some in the tight areas and all that, but wire wheel, degreaser, wire brushes, sandpaper, you know, it'll probably be painted by the end of the day. So now that we got some high heat barbecue grill paint, I could do this other axle bushing. I was waiting on my tool to come. Got some other stuff today too. Disc to disc proportioning valve, little tube bending tool, oil primer for 351 Windsor Cleveland 400 and 460 block. I know it says it fits GM and LS V8 engines, but where do you think they got the LS from? The 351 Windsor, of course. Some anti-seize, some ultra slick for my cam I'm gonna throw in here pretty soon. Flare nut wrenches, got a set of metric and standard just because I've almost stripped a couple flare nuts, trying to take them off with just regular wrenches. And this is the one I was waiting for. So I apologize. There's not a lot of content for this week's video, but I was waiting on this guy. It's a control arm bushing tool. Really cool. It's an installer and a puller. I'm gonna have to hit it with some paint. I don't like that rust right there. But I'll show you how it works here in just a little bit. Alright, so the other day I was able to pull one bushing out and get the new bushing in with the ball joint pusher, and it was easier on the passenger side because the pumpkin has a straight shot behind it, but on the passenger side, the driver's side was easier. Now the passenger side was more difficult because you could see the bulge in the pumpkin. So I got this Maximum Motorsports bushing puller and pusher. I already have it on. It's already almost out, but I just figured I'd show you guys right now. And I believe that's out. So a little word of advice, if you're gonna pull one of these old ones out, make sure you don't mess with the inside lip before you go and try and drive it out with the right tool, because it became a pain in the ass and you had to do the old drill out the rubber, which is actually pretty good tacked on the inside. The outside looked a little beat up. Pull out the inside sleeve and see from where I smashed that inside lip the other day with the ball joint press, it made it hell to come out. So pry bar, hammer, drill, and it finally came out. Now I gotta touch up my nice little barbecue grill paint job. So this is the 7.5 that's about to get pulled out. Working on these state-of-the-art air shocks coming on out. And probably gonna remove this old rusty fuel line going to the front, because we're gonna go with some either braided or some push-on fuel line. Probably gonna replace the top control arm bushings also when it's out. And yeah, just kind of want to show you what I'm working with. Got some surface rust, but I mean, all in all, it's not too bad underneath. Even the torque boxes are perfect on this old jalopy. Not blown out or nothing. These back little frame rails are nice. I mean, just some surface rust. That's all it needs. Some wire wheel and some flat black. Nothing too fancy, especially none of that bed liner crap. And the problem that I was having with this 7.5 also, the reason why I went ahead and grabbed an 8.8 with the 4-lug disc conversion is because I don't know if this brake line is rusted or not, but it goes through the passenger side, inside of the cab, all the way up to the firewall behind the dashboard, and I could never get brake fluid. I replaced the master cylinder, replaced the brake booster, and I could never get brake fluid to these back disc brakes. So I'm gonna keep on working at that, and hopefully with the new brake lines and everything, once it's disconnected, I'm gonna try and hook up this back line and see if I could push it through. If not, I got a disc to disc proportioning valve, a brass one, but it's probably gonna take me flaring some ends and cutting some new steel lines that are fitting up by the brake booster, but whatever it takes, you know, we'll get it running and get it stopping good. So plan for the day is touch up the paint on the rear end from the jack stands, finish topping it off with fluid. We're gonna get the car off the ramps, push it into the street because the jack gets caught in the driveway and all these little cracks and just makes it a pain in the ass. So we're gonna do that, and we're gonna swap out the rear end today, hopefully by sundown. So I'm about to tap the rear end here, and this is what hooked up to the steel line off the 1980 Fox and went to the rear end. Chopped that off at the rear end, and my new 8.8 rear end, this is where it hooked up to the block and then goes to the left and right side of the axle. So I essentially needed this line, but about 2 feet long, and they don't carry that. So I got this guy right here. There's your part number, 77340. It's a Ford Ranger brake line. And then if I don't have enough with that to reach over to the passenger side from the driver's side of the pumpkin, got this guy right here with the brass union, and just got a little tubing bender. Take your time and go slow. 25 bucks and my rear end brake line will be all tied up. All right, so I'm trying to mock up the old 351 Windsor to the transmission I got. Just a rebuilt C4, built it for 700 horsepower. This is the stock flex plate that came off the 255 V8 that was in the Mustang originally, but these are supposed to be like a 28-ounce flex plate, and they won't work with the 351 Windsor. This one I have right here is a Pioneer. You get it at O'Reilly's. It's a FRA 205, and it's the right balance, but it won't fit this torque converter. The holes do not line up. So I'm gonna go and try and get a FRA 202 and see if it fits. And this is for an older 351 Windsor. So if anybody needs one, I got one for sale. Went and got the right flex plate. So for those of you that might have a roller block 95, 96 year, that's the right flex plate part number from Pioneer Automotive. So found out why my transmission and motor were binding as soon as I tightened up the transmission bolts. Still has the pilot bearing in it, so someone must have had a manual transmission in this motor before I got it, so hopefully that solves the problem. So the last couple weeks have been hectic. It's taking me so long to upload a video because went to Colorado, got the rear end for the car, ran into some snow, got that installed, and then when we got back, I was running into problems with the motor mating up to the transmission because rookie mistake, didn't pull out the pilot bearing or the pilot bearing bushing. So everything was getting binding and the motor wasn't turning. And now we're just kind of doing some mock-up. The motor's not all the way in, as you can see. It's kind of pushed to one side. I'm gonna get the mini torque starter in, and then probably got to lift up the motor and try and get these headers in. They're right here. Some BBK long tubes, and once we get that kind of mocked up and just know that they fit, we'll set the motor in and the transmission in permanently, and probably move the car and start on some wiring and finish tidying up the fuel system. We're gonna head to car parts here in a little bit and get the fittings that go on to my in-tank fuel pump. There's some 90-degree swivels with 6AN fittings, and then we can just kind of mock up the top end, show you guys what it looks like, and buy some fuel line. And after that, we're still waiting for the Holley Terminator X to show up, and we're gonna go through all this wiring. We're gonna strip out what we do not need from the old carburetor wiring, and keep what we do need just for the headlights and stuff like that, and rewire it and make it clean, and get ready for when the Terminator X shows up and we could just keep going and install that. And that's about that for now. So we got the trick flow bread box and intake manifold here. I'm gonna test it for fitment, see if it fits underneath the stock hood. I have a feeling it's going to. This is gonna be really, really close. So let's see what happens. Filler neck grommet, fuel sending unit, Red Horse Performance fuel filter, bracket. Now I almost forgot about these guys. These are some 90-6 fittings, but they're swivel, special from Aeromotive to fit into the top of this. Because if you get two stationary ones, you'll be able to get one in there, but they're too close together that the other one will start hitting the other one, and wouldn't be able to tighten on as tight as the other one. So there's that, and I have the whole wiring harness and everything, but we're not gonna mess with that today. Hopefully I could just get all this onto the tank and install up on the car, and I think I'm gonna cut a door in the trunk of the car so that way I could work on the, don't touch that, so that way I could work on the fuel pump if I need to, just to pull it out, make things easier and all that. And happy Cinco de Mayo, everybody. Hope you have a safe one. Well, we got everything all together, but of course neither one of the fuel tank filler grommets fit. This is for a 1980 Fox with the carbureted setup, and neither one of the grommets will let this guy go in. I think I'm gonna have to find a new filler neck now, but whatever. we got time. We're just chipping away at little things that we can get done in the meantime anyways.